Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we are live for another edition of NASCAR 06 Total Team Control on the channel this evening. And we are at the Phoenix International Raceway for the running of the Phoenix 200. 2 races to go in the NASCAR Busch Series season and our Do It for Dale Series. Trying to get Dale Jr. his 3rd career NASCAR Busch Series championship. And today we have a chance of actually clinching the title if Clint Bowyer has another off day in the last race at Texas. A lot happened in that race. One of the more thrilling races so far this season, to say the least, and a lot of points implications were on the line. For the first time this year, Dale Jr. leads in the standings after 34 races, and for the first time in over 20 races, Clint Bowyer is no longer leading the points standings as he is 64 points behind Earnhardt now as we come into the penultimate race. As far as tonight's race goes, 200 laps, 200 miles around the 1 mile flat Phoenix International Raceway, Old Phoenix at that. It is the first time I have raced at Phoenix in the, the second time I've raced at Phoenix in the Busch Series. First race at Phoenix earlier this year, Dale Jr. finished 9th. It's going to be a battle for track position. He didn't lead a single lap in that race, and in fact, Clint Bowyer did win that race earlier this season in dominating fashion. We'll see who's going to win today. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into this race. Asai Z, Mark DeMars, Levi Johnson, Billy Kramer, and others, welcome into the stream. Over 500 points out of first, 23 races ago for Dale Jr. Now leads in the point standings by just 64 coming into the second to last race of the season. Like I mentioned moments ago, first time Dale Jr. has led in points all season long. And boy, did he pick the right time to get that points lead. What a clutch series of races he has had over the last 17, especially as he has only finished outside the top 10 once in the last 16 races, trying to make it 17 today. Gets the green flag, overdrives 1 and 2 quite a bit. He's going to go really wide through this first turn. Lap 1's not looking like it's going to be a good lap for Junior. Big bounce off the curb. That really threw the race car as well. This has been a terrible first lap of qualifying. There was no practice for the start of today's race, so hopefully Dale Jr.'s got the setup in the car, and the right one at that. To the start-finish line on what is now the backstretch at Phoenix. 16th on lap 1 for Dale Jr. Going to try to slow the car up a bit more through turns 1 and 2. That's a lot better that time. Did not go nearly as wide. Can't hit that curb on the dog leg. He did. It didn't throw him, though, like it did the lap before. Car might be just a tad too tight. Not bad through 3 and 4. It definitely wasn't my best set of laps, but it will be top 10. 28.177, and that will be fast enough for 8th for Dale Jr. in qualifying. Gonna have to loosen this thing up just a little bit. It looks like Clint Boyer's on the pole at the 27.991, almost 0.2 of a second quicker than us. Alright, I'm gonna take a half a round of wedge out of it. Gotta put that air pressure up 2 pounds also. Keep the downforce where it's at. Minor adjustments from qualifying into the race. Second DNF for Clint Bowyer. Championship in the Busch Series is secure, as long as we have a good finish in Bowyer DNFs. But Boyer's on the pole. He's going to put up a fight for the title. Obviously, he has all season. I don't expect anything less. All right, let's get this race underway. Green flag is going to be in the air. Bowyer will lead the field to the green. Can he keep his championship hopes alive as Dale Jr. spins his tires on the initial start? He's got to be careful. This is not a good start for Dale Jr. Spun his tires and overdriving turns 1 and 2, and now he's 3 wide on the outside. He's backing out of the gas, trying to find a hole. He's still 3 wide. Not a lot of room there, just keeping it off the wall and other cars around him. Junior trying to at least get down into the second lane now, so he's not 3 wide on the top anymore, and he's not 3 wide. Trying to fight for the bottom. Finally is going to get there into turn 1. Oh, geez. No, never mind. Hold the brakes. That is not the way Dale Jr. wanted to start this race today. Caution's out. Turn 1. Lap 2. I think the car's a little too loose. I should have just left it the way it was. It was wiggling quite a bit on corner entry when I was on the outside, but then even when Dale Jr. got down to the bottom finally on lap 2, the rear tires were just sliding all over the place, and that caused me to overcorrect it into the car on the outside. It has been a couple nights since I've played. When you get in a consistent habit of playing every night, or every day, and something like this happens where I had a night off, I'm a little tired, and then that happens. Yeah, that was not a good start for Dale Jr. Wade Solinsky, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, early trouble for Dale Jr. Can't make any adjustments being involved in that accident. I think just not practicing before the start of this race is what's really costing this 81 team right now. I don't think the handling is that far off. He just needs to get some practice under his belt. Green flag back in the air. And Clint Boyer did lead the first handful of laps of the race. First one was under green flag and then the caution on lap 2. Plenty of racing, but track position matters a lot at this Phoenix International Raceway. I'd say even more so than now. Now you at least have that opening on what is now the front stretch with the dog leg. I think I went the wrong way on adjustments. I'd like to think I can get the handle of the cars pretty quickly even without practice, because I don't practice for every race, especially when I've been going back to these tracks a second time. I kind of have an idea of what to do setup-wise. Most of the tracks. Inside of Jamie McMurray into turns 1 and 2. Dale Jr. is going to pick that spot up. Noah Hall, thanks for tuning in. Junior flatlined it into turn 1. Started to go up the track. He did keep it off the car to his outside, though. Makes the pass for 41st. Long ways to go in this race, and a long ways to go for Dale Jr. Try to get up through the field. It's still going to be a pressured pack last couple races, even now that Dale Jr.'s got the points lead. It is not that comfortable, especially with Clinton Boyer out in front looking to lead a lot of laps early. Boyer won at Phoenix earlier this season, one of his 8 wins. Dale Jr., who is sitting at a dozen wins on the season. Now in the back in the early going. 3 wide into 1 and 2, a bit of contact. He's going to make some passes though for 39th as he squeezes his way through. Junior being a little, maybe too aggressive in the early going of this race. Not saying that that's what put him into trouble necessarily. In fact, I think he was patient, giving up so many spots just to get back down into the bottom lane, and it just didn't work out for him once he got there. He did get a bit aero loose, but might have loosened the car up just a tad from qualifying to the race as well. A tad too much, I should say. Junior getting squeezed onto the curbing that time with the 163. Actually, it might be the 131 right in front of him. Clean Racer, thanks for tuning in. There's a lot of cars up on the outside lane with the 131 leading the 81 down on the bottom. Junior's got a massive run on the front stretch. He'll take it 3 wide to the inside in turn 1, but he overdrove the corner. Clipped the inside wall, and that just cut his speed way down. 3 wide, I don't think is going to work without contact at Phoenix today. We'll see. First time we saw it, there was a little bit of contact, and That time, Dale Jr. just kind of overdrove the corner. He didn't make contact with anybody, but made contact with the inside wall, which costed him. A little bit of a hold there. Now he's 3 wide inside, but he timed it better, though, off the exit of turn 2, which is actually pretty wide on the exit of the corner. Down under the curbing. Looking to make the pass in turns 1 and 2. Under the 56 car, he will. Got a run on Kenny Wallace in the 22. Looking to the inside is Earnhardt into 1 and 2. Dale Jr. starting to get the hang of this race car. Just took a few extra laps. Unfortunately, cost him all that track position when he qualified in 8th. Being involved in that accident on lap 2. Wasn't a great start. But he's starting to trend in the right direction now. It does look like Clint Boyer's pulling away from the rest of the field up towards the front, though. I notice if I get on the brakes a little too hard and slow the car up too much in the corner, almost that is when it seems to get loose on corner entry. Junior off the curb to the inside of Miller. The curb threw him in qualifying, but hasn't thrown him in the race at all. That's something I would want to get too aggressive with. I don't think aggressive is the right word. Too complacent with running over the curb consistently. Especially when side by side. Ice Demon King 92 Hammer, thanks for tuning in. Texas was a wild race for those of you that might have seen it. Looks like there's 3 wide off the exit of turn 4 up ahead. Couldn't tell if one car got into the wall or not. They were very tightly squeezed. Junior still 7 seconds off the lead, though. He's got to run his own race. Clint Boyer can beat him in these last 2 races. As long as he doesn't beat him by too many positions, Dale Jr. will still win the title. Boyer was in that position just in the last race at Texas, but he had a DNF. Remember, he flipped just past halfway through the race in a wreck with Martin Truex Jr., and Truex, in fact, flipped as well. That may have caused Boyer to DNF because on the next restart, just a couple laps later, Boyer blew an engine, and it was likely resulted in how much damage he had from the accident prior to the yellow flag in which he had DNF'd. Oh, one car trying to take Junior out. The 113 took a swing at Earnhardt right in the middle of the corner and almost turned the 81 into the outside wall again. Luckily, he drives on. I'm surprised that knocked me down below the line rather than turn me up the racetrack, because that kind of a hit at that angle on a flat track, you would have thought that would have just hooked me into the wall. Luckily, when Dale Jr. did spin earlier, it was a very light hit into the wall, despite the fact it was head on or towards the right front fender of the race car, so I don't think it really took much speed out of the race car. And aerodynamically, I think it's still alright. Hardest car to pass today is going to be the driver with the clean air at the front. That's what we saw at Phoenix in the Cup and the Busch Series earlier this season. Going to go to Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car for the first time today as we'll take our first field pass. Truex on the inside of Matt Kenseth for 3rd place towards the front of the field. Kyle Busch right in front of him. The 2 of Clint Boyer is definitely pulling away. Truex is all clear for 3rd, getting around the 17. Good run on the front stretch right now off the exit of turn 4 for Earnhardt, or Truex rather. And Kyle Busch in the 5 with a bit of a block on the front stretch as well as he tries to hold on to P2. Derek Booth, thanks for tuning in also. Oh man, Busch way up the track. Into the wall, then gets squeezed into the wall by Truex. Busch went up the track, then Truex went up the track. It looks like Truex is going to hang on to 2nd place though into turn 1. Bit of a block. We'll go back to Dale Jr. at the start-finish line this time by. And Truex up to P2. He's still looking for that first win of the season. We'll see if tonight could be the night in which he could pull it off. Seems like he's got a good race car. So Dale Jr. in 23rd. It looks like he's gained 1 spot since the last time we had used him. Contact up in front of him. J.J. Yaley moving one of the cars into the outside lane. Assuming Kyle Busch is going to leave the 18 car, Derek, I would personally, if I had to say he was leaving the 18, which is what it's leaning towards, I'd probably say Colleague Racing would be the most likely candidate. With Eric Almirola coming back, I feel like that's only going to more solidify the chance he's going there. Reddick could leave a year early, and I'm sure that Richard Childress will get rid of Reddick a year early if they can get a guy like Kyle Busch. But I just don't see that happening. And at least with Colleague Racing, we know for a fact they have that extra charter with a car right now that's being ran by just a bunch of drivers on a part-time schedule. Versus if he were to go to, say, a Trackhouse Racing, he wouldn't be on a guaranteed starting spot every single week. Which I think Kyle Busch is more than capable of qualifying his way in at some of these races. Maybe not Daytona, because you never know what could happen in the 500, especially in speed weeks. Gets in a crash in the dual race, misses the 500. You know, he's missing out on a lot of points to start the season in a B-tier, at best, level equipment. So it wouldn't be a great start to the year if that were the case. So it would be a little bit dangerous in that aspect. So I would rank Colleague Racing number 1. I'd probably say RCR is 2. I don't think he's going to Trackhouse. I'd be shocked if he goes to Trackhouse just because I don't have a charter. I don't think he's going to 23 or 11 at all. I think if he was going to stay with Toyota, he'd stay in the 18 car. I don't think that's looking as likely anymore. Which is crazy because I was saying that he was going to be in the 18 like pretty much all season until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I've kind of weaned myself off of that prediction. Patrick Chatterley, thanks for tuning in. Wise Boyer in the lead. Unfortunately, that's just the case. He qualified on the pole. He won at Phoenix earlier this season. Figured he was going to be one of the guys to beat today anyway. Ooh, J.J. Yaley with an aggressive move down to the bottom. Getting around the 119 car. Dale Jr. having to lift to keep it off the wall on the exit of turn 2. Jr.'s been stagnated mid-pack right now. He can make a late dive into the corner. He can get underneath another car, but then he can't get the drive off as much. Side drafts the 119 that time. No contact will make the clean pass for that 19th place position. 106 making a move to the bottom of the 56 it looks like. Dale Jr. going to follow. Work his way on by. That's actually the 82. Junior clear on the front stretch. Oh, he drives it deep. Into the corner. Side draft. As much as possible. Again, similar to the move he made on the 119 just the lap before. He's passed 3 cars in about a lap and a half now to move up to 17th place. Long line of single file cars in front of him yet. And we'll take our first field pass of the race today at lap 33. Be interested to see how many pit stops this race is going to be today. I would say it's either going to be a 1 or a 2 stop race. It'll be interesting to see exactly how far these guys could go in a full fuel tank. We've seen the 1 mile racetracks in the Busch and the Truck Series. They've been able to go right around 100 laps. So it'll be very interesting if they can make it 100 today. And if we see a fuel mileage race in the penultimate race of the season with the championship on the line between the 2 and the 81, that could be very enticing. J.J. Yaley will be passed. Yaley moved up to 3rd place in points after a good finish at Texas. We'll see if he can hold that for these. Or sorry, John Hamilton moved into 3rd. passing J.J. Yaley. Yaley fell back to 4th in points. John Hamilton finished 2nd at Texas, moved into P3. And the only 2 drivers, even mathematically, that have a shot at the title still is just Clint Boyer, Dale Jr. It's a 2-car race, as it has been for really these final 8 to 10 races. It's even more so now that they're mathematically eliminated from contention. Ryan Newman gave a lot of bottom open to the 83 car going into turns 3 and 4. Dale Jr. going to get around Newman as well following the 83. Jr. not sure if he's clear yet. He's going to give Newman some extra room on the outside. Should be able to make the pass, I would have to imagine, into turns 1 and 2, and he will for 15th. Boyer pulling away at the front of the field. Martin Truex Jr. I would have to assume is still inside the top 4 at the very least. 83 with a block on Earnhardt and drives it in deep, trying to get underneath the 6 of Aaron Crocker in turns 3 and 4. He's going to be able to do so. Junior on the inside of Crocker, moves Crocker up out of the way. Junior wasting no time to get around the 6. Drives it in deep now into 1 and 2 on the inside of the 83. Gets squeezed behind the 135. Junior trying to hold his line on the inside, drives it in deep. Taking over 11th for Bobby Labonte in the 19 car. Dale Jr. just outside the top 10 right now. Just that 1 caution on lap 2 so far. Other than that, caution free. And Jr. just ran his fastest lap of the race that last time by, 27.776. Faster than Boyer's qualifying lap, in which he qualified on the pole. Problem is, he's over 7.5 seconds off the lead, so it's going to take a while before he can catch the 2, even with this pace. And still more cars, obviously, in between himself and Boyer yet. 10 of them, to be exact. Junior way down low. Oh, got into Michael Jourdain Jr. Roughing him out of the way. And Jourdain kind of hit Earnhardt back. Big bounce off the curb, but Junior's cleared for 10th on the number 10. Junior just sticking his nose in there tonight. Trying to get back to about where he qualified at least, which was 8th. Getting shuffled out of line and towards the back off the start of the race. Feel really spaced apart inside the top 5. You can see the next 5 cars per position in front of Earnhardt. John Hamilton, I believe, is the 5th place car. Top 4 are gone. And Junior's able to keep his car under control. I think his car is faster than what it was in the spring. Colton Hurley, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's hard to believe Dodge has been out of NASCAR for 10 years already. Tony Raines making a pass on Shane Meal for 8th. Meal able to get to the bottom pretty quickly, though, in the middle of turns 3 and 4 before Dale Jr. had any sort of shot of getting underneath the 32. Meal actually looking for a crossover on Tony Raines. They're side by side now. Junior to the inside of Raines following the 32 of Meal. Meal slides up to clear the 33. Junior drives it in deep now into 3 and 4. Hooks the yellow line all the way through the corner. He'll end up making 2 passes in that corner now to move into 8th himself. Not quite a quarter of the way home. He's right back to where he started at least. 8th place. It took almost a quarter of the race to do so, but he is back up there. Laps wind away pretty quickly, though, at Phoenix. This is not a very long race compared to the other 200-lap races that we've had recently. Might have a couple more cars battling side by side. A little bit of a checkup. Oh, contact right in front of Dale Jr. 163 sticks his nose in on the 138, moves him up out of the way. They're still door-to-door on the front straightaway. Dale Jr.'s got to run into turn 1. He'll try to get around the 138 next. Can't do it. He's not done putting on the fight yet. 138 trying to get back alongside the 163, it looks like again. Pretty good corner, though, by all 4 of these guys. Battling for position. Junior pulling out a line into turn 1 again. Trying to get to the inside of the 138. Meanwhile, the 138 on the inside of the 163. They're going to be door-to-door. Into the dog leg. Junior literally squeezes the 63 up the racetrack. And that's going to be a pass for 7th. Heading into turn 3. Halfway out of gas. Just shy of lap 50, so it's looking like a 2 pit stop race tonight at Phoenix. .138 looking low under John Hamilton. Dale Jr. going even lower. 3 wide for position off the exit of turn number 4. John Hamilton had to lift to keep it off the wall, so he'll lose a couple spots there. And Dale Jr.'s up to 5th place as he'll clear the 138 now into turns 1 and 2. A lot of clean air in front of the 81 as he throws a block on the backstretch. Boyer pulling away from the 3 cars behind him right now, but Dale Jr. is up to 5th place at lap 49. First time he's cracked the top 5 tonight. And he's 6.2 seconds off the lead at the line. 2-stop race. We'll see if anybody can make it on 1, but they're probably going to need a few more cautions if that's going to be the case. I wouldn't doubt it in the Busch Series this season. Coming off the heels of a Texas race in which we had 9 cautions. 50 laps complete at the line that last time by. Alternate through the different camera angles. One more time in today's race when we get back to the start-finish line this time by, while Dale Jr.'s got a lot of clean air around him. After that, we'll take our second and final field pass of the day. We know Truex is still up inside the top 4 yet. We'll see if he's going to have any shot of trying to catch the leaders. Dale Jr. running a bit quicker than Clinton Boyer right now. Just didn't have the track position Boyer did at the start. Boyer has led all 51 completed laps so far, though, so he's definitely going to be the guy to beat. What you like to see, though, the 2 best all season staying at their best late in the year, or at least in this race. Not so much Boyer's best in the last 2 races. 2 straight finishes outside the top 15 have relegated him to now outside of the points lead. I think he was over 150 points ahead of Earnhardt just 2 races ago. Now he's 64 back. Earl Arnold Jr., thanks for tuning in. Dale Jr. is definitely faster than Boyer right now. They both got clean air, so it's not like Boyer's in lap traffic yet, and that's what's slowing him down. He hasn't hit his first lap car of the evening. Had pretty much around 30 people watching this entire race so far, only 10 likes. Be sure to hit that like button. Again, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you're new to the channel and have not done so. For live race realistic commentary on the NASCAR side of things all week long. Video games during the week and for the real races on the NASCAR race weekends. I won't be able to do any realistic commentary for the real races this weekend, though, as I will be at the Kansas Speedway for the NASCAR Cup Series event. And not only I'll be at Kansas Speedway for the Cup race later on this weekend, but there will be a race highlight video from the grandstands with that being the case. Plan on filming a couple other videos that are somewhat NASCAR related while I am out as well. I think it's going to be definitely going to be a fun trip for my sake, and get to see some playoff racing on Sunday as well. It'll be my first trip to the Kansas Speedway, and plan on still trying to stream every day this week as well. Well, maybe not every day this week, but at least 2 of the days I'm gone. Probably Friday, Saturday. I don't think I'm going to be able to stream the day of the race on Sunday, but Friday, Saturday, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, that gap is definitely being cut pretty quickly. Once Dale Jr. is able to get the clean air, this car is driven perfectly. That's why track position is going to be so important in this race. 4.5 seconds off the race lead right now. Next lap will transfer to Martin Truex Jr. for a few laps. For the second and final time in the races, it looks like he is in second place still. But nobody's got anything for Clinton Boyer except for perhaps Dale Jr., who's just not had the chance to get to him yet. And we'll go to Truex. Gets a bit aero loose, and that's going to slow him up in turns 3 and 4 with Matt Kenseth in the 17 right behind him. Kenseth pulling the block on Clint Boyer now on the backstretch as Truex tries to drive away from both of them. 2.4 seconds is the race lead between the 2 and the 8. And Clint Boyer's just a couple laps away from lap traffic. We're not gonna have Truex even catch Boyer anyway. The good news is for Clint Boyer's sake is that he is leading a lot of laps right now. He's led all 61 of them so far. Fastest lap for Truex that last time, 27.766. Fastest lap we've seen today out of anybody. So he's trying to run down the 2 who has just caught lap traffic, and that has really allowed Truex to cut that gap down to 1.6 seconds. Boyer's still trying to get around that first lap car. Looked like there was some contact too. Boyer moving the lapper out of the way. That'll slow him up. Truex about 0.4 of a second quicker that last lap. 27.699. Truex's fastest lap of the day, plus Clint Boyer getting into contact with lap cars. That has really cut this lead down. We are going back to Dale Jr. this time by at the start-finish line though. So definitely not going to run Boyer all the way down here. But Truex pulling away from 3rd and 4th as Kenseth and Busch continue to battle for the 3rd place position. And Dale Jr. will be the driver the rest of this race, and we're going to keep full focus on as he's still 4.5 seconds off the race lead in this 5th place position. Predicting Green Bay versus Cincy. I don't know about the Packers. If they couldn't make it to the Super Bowl the last 2 years with the team they had, defensively they look pretty much about the same as what they have the last couple years, which is really hit or miss anyway. We were so offensively dependent the last couple seasons, and we're missing a lot of key weapons in the receiving game at least. If that running game, if Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon could stay healthy, obviously Rodgers too, but if those 3 guys could stay healthy on offense, I think our offense is still going to be good, but it's not going to be as flashy as it used to be. I mean, it's going to be an old school offense. There's going to be a lot of running. There's going to be a lot of dump-off passes. There's going to be dink and dunks. It's basically going to look like Tom Brady's offense, honestly. The only difference is Brady's got a lot more weapons in the receiving corps than when he doesn't dink and dunk it all over the place, that he can throw it up to somebody, they can come down with it. Rodgers doesn't really have that guy this year. Rodgers still has a good arm, obviously, but Who's going to catch the ball? Somebody's got to catch it. The days of the Hail Marys might be over. Offensive line's got to stay healthy too, because they were getting pretty beat up last season. Oh, I got the die-cast of Junior's Xfinity car from this year. It was a nice-looking Hellman's mayonnaise scheme. Not my favorite. Honestly, I think my favorite Hellman's mayonnaise scheme is probably the one Brad Keselowski ran when he was in the 88. Dale Jr. ran some races in that paint scheme, too. That was still back in the Gen 4 days, late 2000s. Like 08, 09-ish. Junior hasn't caught his first lap car yet, so he's still trimming that lead down on Boyer. We'll have to see if he can get through the lap traffic just as good as the 2. Kyle Busch losing the 17 of Kenseth just a bit as well, as Truex is still pulling away. Not sure if he's still running down the 2 or not. World Series pick is the Pirates versus the Tigers. Hopefully you mean for next year. The Tigers are not going to be doing anything this year. I don't know if they're eliminated from contention yet, but they practically are. They've got to be really close to it if they haven't. They haven't been eliminated from contention. Kenseth getting around a couple lap cars who are on the outside. 30 laps away from the halfway mark at tonight's trivia question, but as far as the race for the championship goes, both of the championship points battlers and points leaders are running first and fifth. Boyer has led all 70 laps so far, so that means he's only 30 laps away from clinching the most laps led. Junior just didn't have that starting spot. That definitely hurt him, and he's running down the 5 of Kyle Busch. Busch with a block on the front stretch right now. A couple lap cars in the way. Junior slides the tires. He overran it. You saw the car snap loose. It was similar to what happened back on lap 2. Lost the rear grip in the tires. Oh, gets contact from the lap car who was underneath him. The 131 bounced up off the curb. And after he hit the curb, he launched right into Dale Jr. That slowed him down a bit. 3.5 seconds off the lead again. Boyer's just 28 laps away from already clinching 10 bonus points. Yeah, the Navy car was pretty cool too. That was also a good paint scheme. Honestly, a very underrated paint scheme, if I do say so myself. Junior's definitely struggling in lap traffic. Now I'm done swapping with Truex. I limit myself to just 2 times a race. I think Boyer's pulling back away from the 8 anyway again. Honestly, I kind of said it at Texas. I'll say it again for today's race. I don't really want to play that kind of game anymore. That was kind of a desperate times, call for desperate measures kind of a situation there for that one race. And Boyer ended up wrecking anyway. I don't know that that led to us holding him up. But he ended up wrecking in each of the last 2 races. I didn't even try to hold him up in the last race either. Lap car right now between Kyle Busch and Dale Jr. It's the 116. Jr. was underneath him all the way, pretty much the entire second half of that back stretch. And into turn 3, he was down below the yellow line. It was clean without any contact until that, and then Jr. just didn't want to lift at that point and ran into him. Moved him up out of the way, saying, well, if you're not going to give me room, I'm going to make my own room. Kyle Busch going to leave a lot of bottom open now for Junior to try to take up. Oh, man, Junior drove it in a little too deep. Uses the 5 car up, clears him. A little bump and run, and Junior's up to 4th. 2.5 seconds off the race lead. Tigers 20 games back to 25 to go. Yeah, I didn't think they were eliminated yet, but they're pretty close. Kenseth stuck on the outside with a lap car down low. Might open up the bottom. Kenseth's going to try to quickly get down to the bottom. He's going to be just in front of Dale Jr. I'm surprised Kenseth pulled that off. Junior still got a run off the curb. Didn't make a mistake. Now drives to the inside of Kenseth into turn 3. Slides the tires up into Kenseth. There's contact. Anytime he pushes it just a little too deep into the corner, he loses grip and goes up the racetrack. That's the 3rd time that's happened. The 2nd time he's made contact with another car, but that time there was no accident like there was on lap 2. Kyle Busch is going to get past both of them for 3rd. A lot of lap traffic around these guys too, but the intensity is picking up near the halfway mark. Kenseth stuck behind the lap car. He just passed him again. Junior going to pick him behind the lapper. And now he's going to get by Kenseth cleanly for 4th again, but now he's going to have to run down Kyle Busch for 3rd. We'll see if he can do it. Junior gets by another lap car through 3 and 4. Right back to just about 3.5 seconds off the lead again. Corey Freed, thanks for tuning into the stream. We're going to have green flag pit stops very shortly as well, knowing again it's a 2-stop race to the finish. We'll see if anybody can make it 100 laps. I highly doubt it, and even if they do, we had a caution early in the race, so they've ran a few laps under the yellow. I believe all 43 cars are still on the racetrack. Nobody has DNF'd thus far. Junior almost got to the inside of Kyle Busch. Trying to power back to the gas as quickly as he could. Using all the racetrack up off the exit of turn 2. Busch going to try to block to the bottom. Junior clipped the grass. That got him a little sideways. He's a little too low into the corner. And that costed him. A lot of blocks by these drivers being inside the top 5 right now. Lack of grip on these old tires as well. Down towards the end of their line and the end of the run. These drivers really having to tough it out in the desert. Contact up ahead with a couple lap cars. Saw some sparks flying. Both Busch and Dale Jr. get by the lapper in the 117. Jr. going to put the bump to Busch. All that did was launch him ahead of the 113. Oh, and the 113 takes a shot at Dale Jr. now. That slows Earnhardt up in 3 and 4, and now he's going to try to run Busch down a 3rd time. Actually 4th, considering he already passed him earlier. Junior's only able to go a few more laps on fuel. He's going to pit at lap 89. Man, this car is all over the place at the end of the run. Too free on entry. It was so good in clean air too, but now that there's lap traffic with the field so spaced apart and this being such a long green flag run. Big block by the lapper. Oh, and a little contact in the process as well. Junior hit the curb, but he didn't go up the track like the car in front of him did. Junior's kind of stalled out. He got to within 2.5 seconds. He hasn't been able to get any closer than that to Boyer. And he hasn't gotten any higher in the running order other than 4th as well. And lap 89 will be the stop. Lappers side by side in front of Dale Jr., nowhere to go. Kyle Busch gonna pit from 3rd. He'll be the first of the leaders to pit road. That'll give Dale Jr. 3rd place. Jr. will pit this time by. We'll see how much ground Busch is able to close in on the 2 and the 8 in front of him and pull away from the 81, pitting that extra lap sooner. Dale Jr. will pit this time. Went a bit wide, though, in the middle of the corner. There's going to be a lap car to his inside. Jr. trying to get the pit road, but he gets clocked from behind. Caution's out. Jr. gets ran into from behind as he was trying to slow up the pit road. I mean, he was already on the inside, so it wasn't like he pitted from too wide up on the racetrack and cut somebody off. They were just unaware he was pitting, and he just got ran through. Pretty decent damage to the back bumper of the 8. He cannot... I mean, I'm going to have to pit for a little bit of fuel so I don't run out on the restart. He's not going to be able to take tires during the caution being involved in the accident. The good news is the fuel window is almost open to the end of the race. So the bright side is I think Dale Jr. is going to be able to get 5 bonus points for leading under the caution. Poisonous Frog, thanks for tuning in. It's not nationwide, but just Menards. There might have been some cars on pit road that did not go a lap down yet. I'm not sure if Kyle Busch was a lap down or not at the time of the caution coming out. So Junior, I was going to say Junior might not be the leader, but I guess he's going to be now. Good news is Dale Jr. just got 5 bonus points because I don't know if he would have led before that, but now he's in the lead. Green flag back in the air. Can spin his tires on the restart just a little bit. Trying to get down to the bottom. He's going to be able to do so. And Dale Jr., well, he's got track position for the first time today, but the problem is he's got old tires, and that slide did not help. The good news is, if he can go just far enough, it should still be a one-stopper to the end, considering he did pit for fuel. Oh my goodness, he's stuck on the lap car on the outside, gets ran into. We've got another big wreck. Boyer's involved, Junior's involved. And caution's out for the 3rd time. It is a fight it out, gut it out kind of a race now. Junior didn't lead a green flag lap. He got held up on the car that was on his outside. Junior slid up the racetrack just a bit too much on those older tires. There's a lot of cars with damage after that one. J.J. Yaley to the lead. The front of the field. How much damage does Clint Boyer have? Still outside the fuel window to make it to the end of the race yet. Things are not going good for Dale Jr. all of a sudden. No, my controller's actually not wireless, so my controller battery did not die. I'm just on old tires compared to everybody else, and I pushed it a bit too hard. My car slides up the track with the rear tires the older they are.
Looks like we're the only car on pit road during that entire caution.
Well, we'll try it again. Green flag back in the air. Yaley will lead the field to the green at Phoenix after our 3rd caution of the day. 4 laps shy of halfway yet. Half the field is a lap down when that 2nd caution came out. And one car that got by Junior got his lap back right before that caution. Yeah, that's what I mean. Junior's car is just way too loose. It doesn't help that he's been involved in 3 incidents already, and he's still on those same tires. I don't think the car would be as loose this late in the run. That wasn't the case. He's got a little less than a quarter tank of gas left to the finish yet. Looking to the inside of Kyle Busch, who's lost a lot of track position. I think he was the car that got back on the lead lap. Yeah. Oh, man. There's a massive stack up. In turns 3 and 4 that time, Junior got into the back of the 83. As a result, a lot of 2x2 racing on this restart. All the way through the field. That was a big block on Kyle Busch gone wrong. It could have been worse. Junior could have spun out off the front bumper of the 5. That didn't happen. Junior walks it up the racetrack again and loses that spot to Kyle Busch. Not the position he wants to be in right now. He's going to have to short pit, considering the amount of fuel he has in his car. I think he could still make it a one stop, no problem, even before that last caution came out. But it's going to be a ways. Got to at least try to get to about 89. Well, considering we had a caution before that, probably got to get to around 85, 86 laps to go. Just to guarantee. Well, we've got trouble. Debris in the air. Dale Jr. hits it, but I don't think he blew a tire. Caution's out. John Hamilton. Debris caution. Our 4th of the day. Right at the halfway mark. I don't think these guys can make it on fuel from here, but Dale Jr. is definitely going to pit for tires while he's at the back of the pack right now. He'll have nothing to lose here. He'll have a little bit more fuel in his car than everybody else is, assuming everybody else stays out of the pits. Charles Sasser, thanks for tuning into the stream. We'll see if anybody else comes on the pit road to try and top off on fuel as well. But Junior definitely can pit. He can get rid of those tires he's got on the car finally and pit for tires for the first time today. He'll top off on fuel. I don't think he's going to make it to the end yet. So it's looking like a 2-stop race total with the tire strategy as we expected coming into the day still. Even with all the cautions all of a sudden. Luckily I didn't blow a tire when I hit that and like wrecked more. Dodgers Rays is a good pick, by the way. I'll look up the trivia question for you guys during the caution right now. I'll pause it on the restart so that way I can pause it on the restart so that way I can look up the trivia question. Means we're at the halfway mark right when that caution came out. Lap 101 of 200. I'll make the question kind of quick for you guys. I'll try to search up the answer same time I'm asking you guys. But Kyle Busch is the most winningest driver in Xfinity Series history at Phoenix. He has 11 wins. But who is got the second most Xfinity Series wins at Phoenix? That's tonight's trivia question. Who has the second most Phoenix wins in the Xfinity Series all time behind Kyle Busch? That will be the question for this evening. And I'm looking it up right now. Hopefully it's just one driver. I think it is. Yeah, it's just one. It is just one driver. We'll see if anybody can get it. It is not Jeff Gordon. It is not Clint Boyer. Not Brad Keselowski or Chaser Bill Elliott. I'd be more specific with those kinds of names, but it's not either one. Jared Fastnet, thanks for tuning in also. So the second most wins at Phoenix in Xfinity Series history. That is tonight's trivia question. You guys will have until lap 110 to get the question correct. Oh man, somebody's stalling out on the restart. Green flag back in the air. Caution. Caution's out. I don't know what happened. I think there was somebody slowing up the field on the restart that might have stalled out whatever lane, but we get a caution for debris, and it comes off the 56. That was very strange. Dale Jr. picked up a bunch of spots on the restart. He's got a little bit fresher tires than everybody else by probably about 5 to 10 laps, hitting during that last yellow. It's obviously not Danica Patrick, not Bobby Labonte. Oh, field's pitting. The field is pitting, and they think that they may be able to make it to the end from now. Dale Jr. going to try to get this track position back. He just pitted for tires right before that restart, so he doesn't even have a full lap on the tires. He's going to top off on fuel. That will be it for Dale Jr. It'll be a gas and go only stop, and we'll see how many spots Dale Jr. can pick up, and hopefully he can try to get to the lead. He has not led a green flag lap yet. Not Austin Cindric, Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven. Again, Kyle Busch has the most, who has the second most, so it's not Kyle Busch. Not Kevin Harvick, I've not seen it yet. Not Denny Hamlin. Not Joey Logano, not Hornaday. Not Timmy Hill or Cody Ware. I have not seen the answer yet. I'll give you guys the lap 115 because that caution came out, and we're probably going to be closer to lap 110 now. Dale Jr. almost won the race off pit road. He'll come out in second place. Green flag back in the air. Those cautions really helped Jr. all of a sudden. Now he's going to try to get to the lead. Kenny Wallace out in front for the first time today. Lapper still on the bottom lane. Dale Jr. up to second. Wallace gets to the inside pretty quickly. Matt Kenseth is a lap down right in front of him. Dale Jr. still on the outside of the 64. Jamie McMurray. Jr. only has not even a full half a lap. Yeah, not even a half a lap extra on his tires compared to everybody else. McMurray trying to block on the inside. Drives it in deep to get into the free pass position ahead of Kenseth. Dale Jr. holds on to second while Kenny Wallace has the clean air at the front of the field. This is high up in the running order. Dale Jr. has been on equal strategy today. Can these guys make it on fuel to the end, though? We restarted with 91 laps to go. I am not entirely sure that these guys can make it on fuel, but everybody pitted. Dark Crypto has gotten the question correctly also to tonight's trivia question. Carl Edwards is the answer. He was the first one to get it in the chat. Carl Edwards is the second most winningest driver in NASCAR's Xfinity Series history at Phoenix. Lapper's holding up the 22 now of Kenny Wallace. Big blocks being thrown by Matt Kenseth. 3 wide into the corners. Wallace was in the middle all of a sudden. Kenny Wallace trying to cross over Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray. It looks like he's going to be able to do so successfully into turns 3 and 4. Yeah, 4 wins, by the way, for Carl Edwards is the second most to Busch's 11. Kevin Harvick had a couple wins. Cindric actually had a couple wins as well. There's a lot of drivers that were tied with 2 behind Edwards. And we're lap cars in the way of the top 2 for the moment. It's the Kenny Wallace Dale Jr. show at the front of the field. Jr. going way wide off the exit of turn 2. He's trying to power into the gas as soon as he possibly can. Maybe force Kenny Wallace into a mistake. Nobody was able to make passes for the lead in the first Phoenix race after a restart. That has been the case so far today through 115 laps as well. Clint Bowyer still well on his way to clinching the most laps led. He led over 80 laps to start the race today. So Boyer's got to get 10 bonus points. So Dale Jr. needs to get the good finish. And Kenny Wallace up off the curb. Bounced him wide. That's going to leave the bottom lane open into turn 3. But Junior's still a little too far back. He's not going to be able to make the pass. 85 to go. But again, these guys have to go 91 laps on a full tank of fuel. Credit to the strategy call for Dale Jr. going fuel only on that last stop with him just taking tires. Literally the caution before when nobody else pitted. Lost track position to get it right back with another quick yellow. I think we've had 3 debris cautions so far and 3 cautions for incident. If I'm not mistaken, we have had 6 cautions total. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I believe we are sitting at 6 cautions now. All of a sudden at Phoenix after having just 1 after 80 laps. Cautions breeding cautions in the middle portion of the race today. Dale Jr. can't even get a run on the 22 car of Kenny Wallace right now. That's how hard it is to pass a car to the clean air at this racetrack in this game. You get long enough into a restart. Junior's car just does not handle well enough. It's just a bit too tight to try and power his way back by Wallace. Fastest lap too by Junior, that last lap of a 27.659. Fastest lap of the day. Kenny Wallace just running as quick, if not quicker. Good news is Dale Jr. is ahead of Clint Boyer when you think big picture for the championship. Jr. hooked to that yellow line until about the exit of the corner. Goes a bit wider than Kenny Wallace. 27.589 that last lap by Dale Jr. Even quicker than the lap before by about 1/10 of a second. Unbelievable lap from Earnhardt. Past the halfway mark on relatively fresher tires. Even with the car in front of him. Junior can get to the back bumper of the 22. He's going to use it. It might be a while, but we'll see. By my calculations, considering Junior was looking like he was only going to be able to go 86 laps on fuel without any cautions, if it stays green to the end of the race, Junior's going to be about 5 laps short. There is no way of saving 5 laps of fuel under green flag conditions. It's just way too much. So I think you just got to kind of push and hope we get a caution or two that Dale Jr. can then make it to the end. We've had 6 yellows so far today, so I'm not going to doubt that we're going to get another caution. I mean, it's possible we go caution-free to the end from here, but no guarantee. Kenny Wallace with a big block on Dale Jr. Jr. drives it in deep. Trying to get to the bottom lane. Kenny Wallace actually squeezed the 81 that time. Junior's underneath him. Junior runs Wallace into the wall and take the lead. With 80 to go, a championship caliber move from Dale Jr. one way or another. He got squeezed by Kenny Wallace. He wasn't going to take it. He ran him up into the wall off the exit of turn 4. And Earnhardt leads his first green flag lap of the day. Only took 122 laps, but he finally is able to get to the front. Now he controls the race. And quickly out to a 0.6 of a second lead after Wallace slowed up quite a bit after getting into the wall. Clint Boyer's dominated wrong side of the cautions. Did not have a good pit stop either time he pitted during the yellow. Lost spots both times it looks, and didn't even get to restart in the top 5. So it's taken him a while to get through there, as well as the lap cars who restarted on the inside of the lead lap car. So we'll have to find out if Clint Boyer is going to have anything for Dale Jr. But this is going to put Boyer in a little bit of a box with Earnhardt up in front in the second half of the race, in the second to last race of the season. He's already behind him. Pressure's on. He'll still go into Homestead with a shot, the way things are running right now, even if he's still in the top 10. But if he's over 100 back, he's going to, as long as Dale Jr. really finishes top 20, he should have the championship one at Homestead if Boyer can't get his way through the field. Higher finish Boyer gets, especially with all those bonus points today, the more of a chance. He's going to have for the title in the season finale. Yeah, I noticed that's how you got the question, because you were guessing, like you mentioned, all the Roush drivers at that time. Alan Williams, thanks for tuning in. Ash versus Cynthia. Are you talking about the U.S. Open tennis? I don't really watch tennis, so I'm just guessing. Buddy, I'm racing in Phoenix and you're drinking in Arizona too. Maybe you knew I was racing at Phoenix and you got the Arizona tea to prepare for the race tonight. And your aggressive line off the curb. Now Junior's got the clean air advantage. That's the first time we've seen a pass of the leader on a non-restart. That was about 10 laps after the restart. And Junior was able to get by Kenny Wallace. Actually, we restarted 91 to go. It was 13 laps after the restart, so it wasn't immediately within those first few laps. We didn't see that at all in the first Phoenix Busch Series race. We finally saw it now. Now, the first Phoenix race was actually at night. This one's in the daytime. The track conditions a bit looser, which is probably why Earnhardt has been as loose as he has been on older tires in this race. But he has no fear with Kenny Wallace behind him. Even if Kenny Wallace puts pressure on the 81, see, Wallace is the one getting tight now when he gets in line behind the 81. It's not Junior anymore. Junior's got the clean air. Not likely to make it upfield to the end, so from what it was a two-stopper, it's likely looking like a three-stopper now. Even if Boyer gets up here, though, I don't know if anybody can pass this 81 car while he's leading. This is the first time we've been able to see that. Everybody's on equal tires. Kenny Wallace off the curb, gets a bit sideways, had to lift. Keep his car in control on corner entry into turns 3 and 4. Junior hooked to that yellow line all the way through the corner. He doesn't have to worry about getting tight or loose now. It's going to be hard to get aero loose on a flat track too, so even if Kenny Wallace gets close behind him, that's why Junior's not going to get pressured. In his mind, at least. Were you at the Southern 500 then just a week ago? Oh, we've got somebody blowing up on the bottom of the racetrack. I thought it was Clint Boyer for a second, but I think it was the 116. It was another blue car. He'll make it to pit road, so we continue to stay green. 69 laps to go at Phoenix. So 69 laps to go. And that car that blew an engine is going to be able to get to pit road. I haven't seen anybody blow up until just then. Somebody could have DNF'd during any of the cautions, but that would have been the only time we could have seen a DNF before that. But it was the 116. It was not Clint Boyer. Kenny Wallace had a big run on the front stretch, but again, Clemens Jr. just hits his marks. Bottom of the racetrack. He's going to hang on. Unless Kenny Wallace puts the bumper to him, that's the only way, but he's got to be able to get there first. Although he gets close, there's really no chance, and he's going to lose time that lap. Junior well faster than Kenny Wallace, who ran the outside, or at least a bit higher than Junior through 3 and 4, just trying to get clean air on the nose. He's doing something different. Third place is starting to close in, though. Assuming that's one of the lead lap cars, at least. Looks like it might be Matt Kenseth who restarted a lap down. I don't know anything about that, Earl. I saw a headline of it, and that's about it. I didn't even know if it was real or not, to be completely honest, because all I did was read it. I haven't, like, really looked into it at all. I think it was recommended on a YouTube video that I didn't watch, and, well, there's the mistake Dale Jr. needed. Runs into the side of the 22 of Kenny Wallace. Oh, and he puts him into the front stretch wall to hang on to the lead. And now he's going to run him up the racetrack too, but now here comes third place down to the bottom of the racetrack. Matt Kenseth to the lead. He is on the lead lap. The contact between Kenny Wallace and Dale Jr. allowed for Matt Kenseth to get to the lead. Jr. a little too aggressive. I don't think Kenny Wallace is going to be very happy. Punk got fired? No, I didn't hear about that. Are we sure this isn't kayfabe? Junior's determined to win this race. If you couldn't tell already, but now Matt Kenseth's out in front. I was thinking he was a lap down, but I guess not. He is on the lead lap. Now Kenseth's got the clean air after the 81 to 22. CM Punk didn't get fired. See, we don't even know if it's actually real or not, so that probably tells me he didn't actually get fired. Hey, say what you want about wrestling being boring. I'd say WWE's been highly entertaining the last month or so. .559. That last lap for Dale Jr., his fastest of the race. Matt Kenseth's almost kind of pulling away from the 81. Jr. can't get to him. 60 laps to go this time by. Jr. was so determined on keeping Kenny Wallace behind him, and Matt Kenseth capitalized on the contact. Wallace actually did get alongside Dale Jr. I mean, you never know, but that might have won Matt Kenseth the race. I did see Braun Strowman return. I've like barely watched any AEW, so that's probably another reason why I had no clue about the CM Punk thing. Or, well, I had a clue about it, but I didn't actually like look into it. No particular reason, I just... There's some stuff on YouTube I'll find entertaining with it. Yeah, that's true too. 5 laps short for everybody. And you don't want to be the first one to pit in case a caution comes out in the middle of green flag pit stops. Junior going to try to widen his arc out a bit more than Matt Kenseth into turns 1 and 2, but he still entered a bit too deep as he clipped the apron and washed up the track. And now Junior back in the dirty air again. He didn't make contact with Kenny Wallace, which was all self-inflicted. He'd probably still have the lead. The one thing he could not do. It's definitely a 2-car breakaway at the front of the field. This is the first time Matt Kenseth's led all race as well. But he has been in the top 5 all race. Obviously, he's got a good car. Junior willing to get physical for it again if he does get a shot to get the Kenseth's back bumper. He's going to have some perfect corners, though. He gained just a bit that time on Kenseth. I don't know that he can replicate that so many corners in a row and actually get a shot. He closes again through 1 and 2. The closer he gets, the harder that air is going to be pushing him towards the wall. Going to try to stay a half a lane lower than Kenseth all the way through the corner. He's doing something different every time as he closes in on the back of the 17 and not trying to run the exact same line. Kenseth goes with a wider arc into 1 and 2 that time. Junior flatlines it into the corner. He catches behind the 17, middle of the corner. Kind of even that time. Clips the curb just a bit. Junior all the way down below the apron. He's trying something different. Have to at this point. He's got 52 laps to try and get around him yet. But again, it's going to be so hard to get there and stay there and have a shot. And Clint Boyer is going to lead the most laps today. That was pretty much already locked up, even when Junior took the lead the first time. Under green, at least at lap 122. Boyer's led over 80 laps today from the pole. Santiago Kid, thanks for tuning in. Oh, Kenseth's about a full lane off that yellow line. Dale Jr. closes quite a bit. And he has a run on the front stretch. It's like Kenseth's got a fifth gear because he's still accelerated. Halfway on fuel with 50 to go. More like 49 and a half to be exact. Again, still short on fuel to the end of the race. Is there anybody that can save enough of the 23 cars, 23 to 24 cars that are on the lead lap? Junior lost time in 3 and 4 that lap to Kenseth. Cat and mouse game at the front of the field. Kenseth's car is so strong. Dale Jr. is so strong. They're so equal with each other. Dale Jr. can't find an edge. The clean air advantage is there for Kenseth. Now the good news is they will catch lap traffic before the end of the race. That could be the difference maker. And Junior actually being able to make a pass on Kenseth, because if Kenseth's in third gear like Earnhardt, these guys are going to be even more equal. That's probably the only thing favoring Matt Kenseth in that 17 car right now. Getting the slight edge. If they don't win it on Monday, I mean, I'm sure they'll get it at some point in time fairly soon. I wouldn't be surprised. They haven't been a tag team for that long, though. That's the only thing with that. They haven't had a lot of build time for them to like win the titles and actually make it. Not, I mean, it would still mean something. Considering I think it would be both of their first tag titles in WWE, but I don't. I'd like to see it build a little more, because I feel like if that happens, then Bayley's going to end up winning the championship too, right? You would think. You're trying to back up the corner to get a little bit better corner exit speed this time. Too far back to make a charge into turn 1 yet. Still took that run, drove it in fairly deep. Kenseth's starting to log in quite a few laps led. Talked about how long it took Junior to get to the lead. Now Kenseth leads. Oh, Kenseth checking up a little bit. Lap car blowing up is able to get to pit road. We stay green. No caution. Kenseth definitely lifted a bit. Dale Jr. got into him, but that kind of pushed Kenseth forward as he hit him so square off the exit of the corner. Right as they were getting to the straightaway, saw some contact at the back of the field, some lap cars that are battling. Big dive. Earnhardt gets a run on Kenseth again. So close to the back bumper of the 17. He's going to drive it in deep and flat into 1 and 2. He gets into him. He moves him out of the way. And runs him up the racetrack. Dale Jr. to the lead off turn 2. And now blocking on the back stretches. Both cars have lost their momentum with the contact. Dale Jr. fights and finally is going to be able to get to the lead. Kenseth in the wall, also off turn 4. And Junior's got the clean air advantage, but I don't know for how much longer because lap traffic's coming up very soon. It wasn't Boyer. Kenseth off the curb. That slows him up a bit as well. Kenseth making all sorts of mistakes now that he lost the lead. Dale Jr. now in the driver's seat with 41 laps to go. Kenseth's best shot is going to have to be to just wait till they get the lap traffic. Don't push it too hard and risk losing the 81 before that, so that we have a chance when the lap traffic comes into play. And again, we don't even know that this race will stay green to the end. We are currently just over 50 laps into this green flag run, the second longest green flag run of the day. If it does go green all 91 laps to the end, it will be the longest green flag run of the race. 6 cautions so far. 35 people watching. Thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already. Junior leading in points for the first time this year. A miraculous second half season comeback. Boyer's DNF after a flip at Texas, while battling for position inside the top 5 with Truex just past halfway through the race. Costed him the points lead. And Dale Jr. is there now for the first time this season, and also leading late at Phoenix. Boyer led a lot of laps early from the pole, but a couple pit stops under caution, and Boyer was losing multiple spots at a time, and now is no longer even in the top 5. And with just 38 laps to go, time is ticking for Clint Boyer and his championship hopes before Homestead. He'll still have a shot going into Homestead, but wants that points gap to be a little bit tighter. Cup Series racing tomorrow night on the channel for NASCAR 06. Our 9th of 10 races in the chase right here at Phoenix. And another Do It for Dale Series race. That will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that'll be leaving for Kansas on Friday morning, so be sure to tune in for that stream tomorrow. It'll be the last NASCAR 06 stream of the week. Lap cars 2x2 up there. Dale Jr. now in lap traffic, trying to go down below the yellow line in the middle of the corner, trying to find some sort of clean air. So hard to pass today at Phoenix. But Junior's clean air is gone. Who can get through the lap cars quicker, the 81 or the 17? The 81 is definitely pushing wide since closing in on the lap cars from behind. This could be an opportunity for Kenseth with 35 to go this time by. Dale Jr. to the inside of the 123. It'll be the first lap car he's going to catch since leading. Contact with the lapper on the front stretch. Jr. making the pass, but now the lap car's going to have a shot to cross him back over. Lap car off the apron. Jr. just got into the wall. He was trying to give him room after he saw him clip the curb. And that costed Earnhardt because now Matt Kenseth's going to the bottom of the track for the lead. Junior going to rough Kenseth up on the front straightaway, rather. He tried. He was trying to hold Kenseth up. We'll see if Kenseth can get by the lap cars now. Junior going for the bottom. Kenseth with a bit of a block into 3 and 4. Lap traffic is definitely making a difference. It's going to be a little easier for these guys to try and pass each other now. Kenseth back into the lead. Junior lost the rear tires. He overdrove the corner, and Kenseth's going to pull him. He's about a half a second ahead now off turn 2, and the lapper got back around Junior on the high side. Dale Jr. struggling in lap traffic. He was struggling in lap traffic when he wasn't in the lead earlier. Now he struggled while leading in second. Look at this. I mean, Kenseth got through this, and look what's going on behind him all of a sudden. 2x2. Nowhere for Dale Jr. to go, except for to try to go 3 wide to the bottom. We'll get around 2 of them. Wasn't quite 3 wide. 117 had to check up after a block from the car in front of him. Jr. will get by him. They'll all kind of stay towards the outside. That's going to help Dale Jr. That helped him out a ton. They cost him the lead, but now Jr. overdrives the corner. A little contact with the 106. He's in the wall. Almost got turned by the 117, and now Dale Jr. is over a second and a half off the lead. 30 to go this time by. Kenseth is pulling away. Jr. cannot get this car to handle properly in lap traffic. He's got a little bit of clean air in front of him, but Kenseth's still passing more lap cars as we speak, unfortunately. 30 to go. NASCAR 6 Series custom schedule do it for Dale. Well, I plan on doing some custom schedule seasons. You guys will get to vote again. The drivers I'll race as in the truck and the Busch series, and then the cup I'll use Biffle, but you guys get to vote for those other couple series, and I will be doing custom schedules. This is going to be it. And one chance to win the title in the Busch and the Cup series and our Do It for Dale series. Caution will change everything, because then you wonder who pits, who stays out. I don't think one caution's enough for these guys to make it on field to the end. Two, maybe. Junior needs to get through this lap traffic better than what he has so far. He's a second and a half off the lead. He's only closed in about a tenth over the last probably 4 or 5 laps. Quarter tank of gas left right now for the 81 of Earnhardt with 28 to go at the line. We know he's short. You would have to assume everybody else is short to the end as well. We'll see. "27 laps left. Just a 1-mile racetrack. A couple rivals right in front of Dale Jr. as well. That's not going to help him. Junior a bit quicker, though, those last 2 laps than Kenseth. Problem is, Kenseth's just passed the last lap car he was trying to battle with. Dale Jr.'s got, what, oh boy, 6 more. He about turned one of them. 107 car's in the wall, but no caution, so we do stay green. Remember, if caution comes out, Junior can't pit for fuel or tires if he causes the accident. Luckily, there was no caution flag for that. Junior with a run. Squeezes his way under another lapper. 113's already sideswiped Junior twice today. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to do it a 3rd time. Contact behind Kenseth's what he needs out of Earnhardt. Oh, jeez, Junior. Junior getting a little too aggressive right now for his own liking, trying to get through these lap cars that he has struggled to pass all race long. Kenseth's got a lot of clean air in front of him. Junior the run on the backstretch to the inside of the 113. 113 car took a swing. Junior hangs on. Well, actually, it costed Junior because then he got in the wall off of turn 4. I don't think he would have gotten into the wall if he didn't get hit on the right side door like that in the middle of the corner. Knocked him just a bit out of shape, and Kenseth pulls ahead a couple tenths of a second again. 2 more lap cars still in front of Dale Jr. as we'll come to 22 to go this time by. You're going to get by the last lap car that separates himself from race leader Matt Kenseth. 21 laps to go. little more clean air on the nose, at least until he catches a 17. He's just going to have to hope Kenseth's going to catch a lap car, hopefully when Dale Jr. gets to him first. Knowing how bad Jr. struggled in lap traffic. 20 to go. Can these points leaders of Clint Boyer and Dale Jr. make it on fuel to the end? We knew Jr. wasn't going to, but is Clint Boyer far enough back on the lead lap that he said might as well try to save, do something different, and potentially beat Dale Jr. today because of it. That last caution we had with 91 laps to go in a very weird spot for these guys to try and make it. Which just put Dale Jr. about 5 laps short, but everybody pitted during that last caution at the same time. Jr. is running down Kenseth again, at least for now, but once he gets behind him, it's going to be difficult again. Once Kenseth gets slowed up behind the lap car, he's been getting through lap traffic fairly well, especially compared to Dale Jr. So it costed Jr. the lead and dropped him 1.6 seconds off the lead again before trying to run back down to 17. He slowly but surely is running it back down as it's to about 0.4 of a second of a gap right now, about 3 or 4 car lengths between the 17 and the 81 with 18 to go. Kenseth trying to squeeze around the 82, happens to be a rival of Dale Jr. Kenseth on the inside of him into turns 3 and 4. Jr.'s going to have to get around the 82 pretty quickly. Oh, the 82's going to block Earnhardt. Earnhardt trying to move him up out of the way. That didn't work. 17 to go. He'll get to the inside of the lap car. Into turns 1 and 2. Bump and run. Right front's really going away on the 81. Kenseth puts another lapper between himself and Earnhardt in the 152 car. Junior down low, gets underneath the 152 cleanly. Looking for a little bit of space. Into turns 1 and 2. He'll clear him. Kenseth to the inside of another lap car, though. Kenseth getting through the lappers just quick enough compared to Dale Jr. Jr. driving it in deep into 3 and 4, trying to get to the inside of the 106 as well. After Kenseth made the pass. Down on the inside of the racetrack, 15 laps to go. Kenseth gonna pull clear. Might have pulled up a bit too wide. Dale Jr. down low for the lead. Lap car almost got underneath Earnhardt. Earnhardt had to block. Still side by side into turn 3. Lap car's up high right in front of Kenseth. Junior goes up the track to clear the 17. Lapper gonna get underneath both of them. Junior leads at Phoenix with 14 to go. He has ran down Kenseth. Kenseth finally struggled enough in lap traffic. Junior gets loose on the bottom though. Kenseth back to the outside. They leaned on each other just enough. Junior getting a bit arrow loose with the lapper behind him. Up the track. No, we've got a fight. 13 to go. Lap car's kind of getting through the mess. Problem is they're still in front of these two. 4 lap cars in the way. Kenseth and Earnhardt have been side by side for about 2 whole laps. Junior back out in front of Matt Kenseth. 12 to go. Can't afford to wreck either. Kenseth's boxed in. Junior's somewhat boxed in, but not as much as Kenseth. Lap car in the 152 down to the inside of the 17. 11 to go at the line. Junior's going to have to pit within a few laps for fuel. He's more than 5 laps short what I was originally expecting. He's burned a lot during this run. It is a fuel mileage race all of a sudden at Phoenix. We figured it probably was going to be. Junior pulling away. Kenseth still boxed in on the outside. Junior can't save enough. I mean, it wasn't going to matter. He wasn't going to be able to save as much to the end of the race anyway. It's going to be a fuel-only stop for Earnhardt when he does pit. Has to get to pit road cleanly, 10 laps to go. But if he pits and a caution comes out, trapping him a lap down, that is going to be terrible. So he really needs this to play green to the end at this point. If not, a caution's going to have to come out ASAP. Might see some guys try to stretch it, though, if we see a caution, because that's less laps they'll have to run under green. Junior will stay out one more lap. He's going to pit with 9 laps to go. So he expands the lead just a bit more. Kenseth finally got around the lap cars. 9 laps left. We'll have 8 to go this time by, and Junior will pit for just a half a can only. We'll splash and go. Even if everybody else can make it, as long as the 2 of Boyer can't make it, that's the big thing for Dale Jr. He's going to pit. He's going to get to pit road, no problem here. And again, it's going to be splash and go only. Eight laps left. Kenseth now leads. Junior was low on fuel, didn't want to risk running out. He knew he wasn't going to make it to the end anyway, so he's pitting now. And will we stay green? Best thing is if a caution came out like right now while Junior's on pit road before he loses a lap, and then everybody else pits again anyway, and Junior's back in the lead. But the only problem is if that were to happen, and I guess with the fuel only stop, Dale Jr.'s actually going to hold on to the lead lap still. At least it looks that way. Kevin Carroll, thanks for tuning in. There's no chance Junior's going to get any more spots without anybody else pitting. He's on the lead lap. Looks like the second to last car on the lead lap with still a couple cars in front of the 17 of Kenseth. 5 laps to go for Kenseth to try and make it on fuel to the end of the race. Pay close attention to the track map on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Caution comes out now. The race might end as well, so need it to stay green and just hope everybody else has to pit. I'd be shocked if anybody can make it. 91 laps on fuel at Phoenix. From that last restart, no cautions. Dale Jr. We knew he was going to be about 5 laps short. Well, we've got some drivers going at least 1 lap beyond that because there's only 3.5 laps to go for race leader Matt Kenseth. That's going to be a terrible timing 6th caution if it stays green to the end. If Dale Jr. is the only one that had to pit. Tires wearing out. 3 laps to go for Kenseth. Don't want a caution come out with drivers running out of gas as well. Junior with a power slide into turn 3. His tires at the end of their line. Obviously gone just over a full fuel run on those tires. He's got 3 to go himself. He's slowly catching up to the cars in front of him, but he's too far back to actually catch them for position. 2 laps to go for Matt Kenseth in the 17. And what a prayer answer for Clint Boyer. Dale Jr. played the strategy game right up until that last caution. I mean, he pitted. There's really nothing else Dale Jr. could have done. He played the strategy game right to get that track position that he was unable to get on speed in the first half of the race. That put him in contention. Kenseth will get to the white flag. No cautions on the final lap. This is it. And Boyer may have a chance of getting this points lead back. After Dale Jr. finally took it away. A fuel mileage race at Phoenix. Jr. is on the short side of it. Nobody pitted that last time. You've got to be joking me if everybody goes 5 laps further than us on fuel. That's 5 whole miles at the Phoenix Raceway. Final lap, checkered flag. Matt Kenseth is going to win at Phoenix. Now we just got to find out where Clint Boyer finishes, because Dale Jr. is going to end up 22nd when he gets to the checkered flag at the start-finish line this time as he works his way through 3 and 4. That is unbelievably terrible luck for Junior tonight. 22nd will be the finish. Clint Boyer gets a top 10 as he finishes 9th place today. Wasn't as strong as what he was earlier in the year. He was strong when he had the track position, but pit stops did not work out well for him, and pit strategy did not work out well for Dale Jr. Matt Kenseth's going to get his second win late in the season for both of them. He's won 2 of the last 4 races now. Aaron Crocker finishes second again. I think that's her third top 3 in the last 4 or 5 races. Kenny Walsh ends up third. J.J. Yaley fourth. John Hamilton rounds out the top 5. Bobby Labonte 6th. Lance Trigger 7th. Kyle Busch 8th. Clint Boyer led 90 laps today, finishing 9th from the pole. That's going to be 10 bonus points plus the 9th place finish compared to Dale Jr.'s 22nd with 5 bonus points. Brandon Miller rounds out the top 10. That is, I mean, the points are going to be even tighter going into Homestead. I think Boyer's going to be back in the lead, though. That's the problem. 5 cautions, not 6 today. But that 5th caution, that last yellow came out and we restarted with 91 laps to go. I mean, that killed us. I knew we couldn't go that far on fuel, but I'm surprised everybody else was able to. Junior's the only one that couldn't make it. Truex finishes 13th. Right when Junior had the momentum. That's his worst finish in 17 races. I have not finished worse than 13th in 17 races until today. Led 30 laps, was in the lead, couldn't make it on fuel. I could have probably went a few more laps, but I wouldn't have been able to make it to the end. There's no way. And if I would have ran out of gas, I would have potentially finished way worse than 22nd. Especially if I couldn't make it all the way back around. We only had 2 DNFs, Stewart and Thomas. We saw both the engine failures in the second half of the race. And Junior, I believe, is the last car in the lead lap at the finish in 20 seconds. So just 22 cars finish on the lead lap. Let's see, 1.4 second margin of victory, hour 50 minutes total time on the race today. 108.69 miles per hour was the average race speed, 14 lead changes. They had quite a few lead changes during green flag conditions, more than what we had, which was 0 in the first race. And we got to look at the point standings. This is unbelievable. What a crazy season this Busch Series has been. I mean, all 3 series are tight. This one, I mean, you can't predict from race to race what's going on between Boyer and Earnhardt. 1 minute, one of us seems to get some sort of a boost of momentum. The other one takes it right back. Well, Junior still got the points lead. Oh, my goodness. We dodged a bullet. Ran out of fuel, but because we went fuel only, we still finished on the lead lap, and we finished 22nd because there were half the field a lap down in this race because that long green flag run we had. Not really the last one, but the second to last one. Well, really both long green flag runs we had. The last one was the longest, 91 laps, and even the second one when Boyer was lapping a bunch of cars earlier in the race. That was about an 80-lap green flag run, roughly. 18-point lead for Dale Jr. over Clint Boyer, so he still got the advantage going into Homestead. That's crazy because Boyer beat him by 13 positions. If Boyer would have not lost as many spots on pit road and maybe could have won the race, he definitely would have the points lead. Yeah, so Junior up. I'm trying to think of the points clinching scenario where we would have to finish. If Boyer wins the race, if Boyer wins Homestead, and let's say theoretically he leads the most laps, because I've only won on 1.5 miles, and that was at Texas in the last Busch race before this one. And we have not raced at Homestead in any series yet either, so that's going to be the last new track as far as the actual tracks in the 05 schedule on this season. For all 3 series, so it's going to be interesting. Definitely got to practice, try to find a setup. But, man, 18 points. So theoretically, Bowyer leads the most laps, wins the race. If we finish second and lead one lap, just one lap, finish second, we'll win the championship. Because Bowyer would only be able to actually outscore us by 15 points, if I'm not mistaken. If he leads the most, wins the race. Now, if Clint Bowyer leads the most, wins the race, and I don't lead a lap, then he's going to win the championship by 2 points, because he would outscore me by 20. So I have to lead at least one lap and finish second, and I will win the championship. But if we do not lead a lap and finish second, or better, Clint Bowyer, that title's going to be his if he wins the race. So it is going to come down to the wire. It is a tight points battle. About as tight as you can get, really, between the top two. So Bowyer can beat us. He can win the race, lead the most laps, but we have to finish second, and we have to lead at least one lap. So it's worth trying to stay out a little bit longer on fuel, maybe early in the race if we have a long enough green flag run. We never seem to really have that opportunity in the Busch series because we get a lot of cautions in this series compared to the truck and the cup. But if we can lead one lap, like say during green flag pit stops, and just work on getting second, even if I don't beat Bowyer, I got to not be as aggressive in the next race. Unless, obviously comes down to it at the very end. Just got to put myself in position. It's going to have to be a clutch performance by both the 2 and the 81, and it's going to be fun to watch next week. We still have Cup Series and Truck Series race at Phoenix yet to go this week, and I will actually not be able to do that truck race this week, but I will be able to do the Cup Series race tomorrow, so tune in. Do it for Dale. Cup Series, NASCAR 06, Phoenix, 9th race of the Chase tomorrow night. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard start time. We've got an even tighter battle there. I think, the top 4 within one race worth of points of the lead still. I think top 4 within 80-something points going into the final race of the season, or the second to last race of the season. So, tight battle. Even tighter than this one coming into the day, at least, as far as the Cup side of things. So, we'll see what will happen in that one. I'll see you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Wednesday evening.